Hello everyone and welcome to a small sedan that proves that you don't have to spend a lot to get practicality, comfort, good looks and fuel efficiency. The 2025 Kia K4. So this 2025 Kia K4 is pretty much similar to the 2024 variant, just very small changes, and also in terms of the cabin being a little more quieter now. So yeah, those are the changes that have been made, but it still remains this very big sedan that way in terms of its appearance. Pretty broad, like look at that. If you see from the sides, the arches, check this out, like it makes the car seem so much big and broader. Not that it is small, it's actually pretty big, because if you see the seats here, like there is a lot of gap in between them, and that just proves the fact that this car is pretty wide. So the 2025 K4 is offered in 5 different variants, starting from LX, EX, EX Plus, GT Line Turbo, and then the GT Line Turbo Limited. So the LX, EX and the EX Plus comes with 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with a CVT transmission, whereas the GT Line Turbo and the GT Line Turbo Limited comes with a 1.6-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine and mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission that sits underneath this, and it's front wheel drive only. And starting from this, so the particular variant that I am reviewing is the K4 GT Line Turbo Limited, which is the top of the line variant. So starting from the front, so you get this black glossy grille out here with some dash of chrome on the top, and this Kia badging that is meant to look like brushed aluminum, the logo. I like the look of that. More opening at the bottom, glossy black plastic grille, not normal plastic, which is a great improvement. And it just comes, I'm guessing, on this GT Line Turbo and the GT Line Turbo Limited, and then more glossy bits out here with some normal plastic, and then this headlight cluster that sits out here. And inside the headlight cluster you would find the DRLs in amber color going from here and extending till the bottom, the star map design, and they are the amber ones LEDs, and those same DRLs also convert into the turn signals, whereas the main headlight cluster sits out here. And there's also the fog lights which sits on this edge on the inside, and the fog lights and the headlight cluster, they both are completely in LED, and lots of arches and lines, and yeah, this car definitely has a lot of character and presence on the road. There's also a camera for the active and the passive safety systems. When we move on to the side, so there are these 18-inch black alloy wheels. I like the design of this compared to the previous one in 2024 when I tested the K4, was in the GT line, but those, yeah, they didn't have the appealing rim designs, but on this it looks absolutely amazing, especially the black bits. And on this GT Line Turbo, lots of bits are black, so this skirting that you see on the fender, yeah, that's again glossy black, more glossy black plastic at the bottom along with a dark gray plastic trim. Yeah, even that's exclusive to this GT line, more glossy black out here, and then this chrome surround sitting at the bottom. And when we come to these side mirrors, so these are glossy black side mirrors, again part of the GT line and the GT line Turbo Limited. So yeah, these are non-power foldable, power adjustable. They also have the blind spot warning on the inside and a turn signal too, and one of the cameras from the 360-degree camera system, which is the surround view monitor as Kia likes to call it. And it also comes with the blind spot view assist. So if you switch on the car, let me switch it on, and then if I turn it on the right side, then the right side camera is activated and shown on the right hand dial, whereas the left side will show you the left hand side. So you don't have to take your eyes off while you are driving the car. So yeah, that is a pretty handy feature that comes in on this car. Really like it. And then another extended window in the back. And if you notice the body design, as I said, it's a very bulbous looking car, especially in the rear once we go. But check it out again from the side, these thick arches, look at that. And it's also very roundish too in terms of its design when we come to these doors. So the front doors are the keyless entry doors, and in the rear, if you're noticing, no door handles because they are sitting on this pillar itself, and they are again in glossy black. So lots of glossy black plastic has been used. So you open it and then operate it like that. Once we move into the back, so first in terms of the visibility, it's actually a bit restricted and more upper level visibility, and it misses out the lower level. But the thing is that the passengers that are sitting in the rear, they are not going to be coming out from this point, so you still have that much of visibility clear left. And if you look at the car from the side, it's pretty much like a fastback kind of approach in the rear in terms of the design. That is why the glass is long, but it's also sloping. So visibility, it's going to be narrow and restricted slightly. Now, as I mentioned, in the rear, it's a very bulbous and a busy looking rear end, because first are these tail lights that extend from the bottom and go into the middle almost, and then on the other side also this Kia badging, again that's also in this brushed aluminum design. And in terms of the tail lights, so on this GT Line Turbo and GT Line Turbo Limited, you get full set of LED tail lights. The ones out here convert into the turn signals, and the Kia K4 badging and the GT Line badging provided, and the reverse light sits out here at the bottom, centrally mounted. And at the bottom, the bumper is glossy black along with gray color plastic pieces. Again, lots of glossy black plastic out here too, and then more glossy black out here on the sides also extending, and then this sort of diffuser design, but it's just for aesthetic purposes, not really a functional one. And the exhaust tip is out there on the right side, so no fake exhaust tips or anything. And there's also another camera mounted out here for the 360-degree camera system part of it. And now to open the trunk door, you press this button, or there's a feature that you activate. So if you have the car keys in your pocket and it's locked and you walk towards the car, it will automatically open the trunk door. So right now I have switched it off because I don't want it to open every single time whenever I'm around the car. So let's open the trunk, and you get access to this huge trunk space. There are also scuff plates provided in the back to protect your bumper from scratches and stuff, and a very huge trunk space in the back. So you can put 413 liters of luggage in the back. It's a bit raised up slightly, so it becomes more rectangular, but nonetheless you can put a lot of luggage on the inside for sure. So another small sedan that has the huge trunk capacity was the Honda Civic Hybrid. I've done the review of that, so you can click on the pop-up banner that is out there and watch the detailed review video of that. And there are no tying points or anything, there is just this woofer out here and a trunk light, and the rear seats are foldable in a ratio of 60:40. In order to do that, there are these levers provided out here. You pull them, and the thing is that you have to go then in the front and manually pull the seats down, so that becomes a bit of a struggle if you are in a rush. So it opens up the space in the rear for longer objects, but there is a bit of a step out here that may hinder the usability of this trunk space. And underneath the trunk floor sits a temporary spare wheel along with the tool kit. And once we close, simply using this handle that's provided on the inside, close the trunk door. So once we open the door, so the interior is dual tone, so you would find the white color and the black color, and even on the inside on this GT Line Turbo Limited there is white and black combination that's been provided. So on the door cards there is soft touch material on the top side in black color, side face again soft touch, handrest is soft touch, the bottom just normal plastic, and then this white color plastic piece that surrounds it, and then near the switches again good quality use of plastic, and then these seats with the GT line badging and the headrests that are in white, then this black color perforated seats. The interior, let's sit on the inside, again soft touch, but I wish it was a little bit more softer, and then throughout it's softer material. Out here there is just like normal plastic, like really normal ones, like they can improve out here. And then even in the center console there's like smooth plastic quality with the white color accents around that too. And then again out here also there's like normal plastic that's been provided, really cheaped out on this side, especially because it's very much visible to the eye, so maybe that can be improved. Near the glove box is again normal plastic. The steering is dual tone, white and black color, then these buttons and all, so the steering is pretty good. And then you see the screens out here, and on this GT line you actually get another screen, so there are like three. One for the driver's display, second, actually let me just switch it on and show you. So you see, one is the driver's display, second one is the air conditioning control, and this is the infotainment screen with the buttons out here. But overall, good use of material on the inside for sure. The material quality has been improved on this generation. There are also mood lights that are provided in this door card and also in the dashboard itself out here, and in order to change them you go into the infotainment screen, setup, vehicle, and then the lights, and then there is the ambient light option, brightness, color, so you can select the fixed ones or some 64 different colors that you can choose from. So if I show you, it's changed to like green ones, yellow ones, you can change and set the mood inside the car, or you can even link it to the drive mode also, and then dim in dark conditions and all of that settings that you can change. So continuing with the driver's display, so there is a 12-inch digital driver's display provided on this 2025 K4 GT Line Turbo Limited, and in terms of its appearance you can change the design of these dials. So instead of these angular ones you can change to a simple design, maybe a round one. So you go into the setup and then you go into the cluster, then the cluster theme selection. So you have the circle, so now it becomes like circle with traditional cages around, and then there is also style for that, the style A, style B, style C. Let me show you here, style A, style B, and style C, or you can link it to the drive mode, and even in the simple mode the colors can be changed here too. So lots of animation and graphic, but it's a very fast screen. Whichever screens you interact with, they are pretty decent and quick. And in the center you can change the information that you see. So the first one is the driver's safety systems, all of those, and then those the window can be switched to different views using the button out here and this scroller dial. So the first one, as I mentioned, is this. So you hold and press this button and then go into the infotainment screen, and it shows you the driver assistance and all of that. And the next option is the fuel economy. So the first one is the current trip, then the refueling, then last reset, and tire pressure. Then the next option is the navigation. So that's about it. That's how you operate the driver's display, and then more information at the bottom that's been provided too. Now when we come to the air conditioning, so you get dual zone air conditioning system on this K4 GT Line Turbo Limited, and then there are also buttons out here for quick access, change the fan speed, temperature on either side, and the mode. But if you want to interact in detail, then it's out here, this 5-inch screen that's been provided here, and in order to switch it on, it's like a touch screen. So you press and change the fan speed, and you can change the flow of air on here. You can press the legs and all of that. You can change everything from here, and the temperature on the top, but that cannot be changed because the temperature is changed using the switch that's been provided out here. So you can change, reduce the temperature, and it also shows you on the infotainment screen what's the temperature and the fan speed and everything, and even on the passenger side. So it's a dual zone air conditioning system, and then more options out here for recirculation of air, auto air conditioning and everything. And there's one more cool feature. You see this plus button, you press that plus button and you can access the entire air conditioning system out here in the infotainment screen. Temperature on either side, fan speed on the top, the same options at the bottom, or you can even change the rear. The passengers on either side have the heated seats. You can switch it on and off from here, or there is also button provided in the rear. I'm going to come to that too. So yeah, lots of ways that you can use this screen, which is a good thing. So you can collapse it and then use the infotainment screen using this plus and cancel button. Now when we come to the steering, so this is a leather covered steering wheel in dual tone, plastic in the middle, but again good quality use of plastic, Kia offset badging, and this is like a flat bottom steering wheel on both the sides, and the reason being that the steering is very big. It's actually pretty broad and big, and as a result of that, if it was round, then it would block your view. That's why it's been sitting low by making it flat. And also you have to watch this screen, the 12-inch one, so to make it visible, so that's why it's broader. So now it makes sort of sense. If you see, then there are paddle shifters also because it comes with 8-speed automatic gearbox also, and it's manually adjustable too. And then there are buttons provided on either side, as well as buttons at the bottom, which is for the drive mode. And this is a heated steering wheel, but the heated button for that is provided out here on the door card, which is a bit of an odd place because it would have been easier if it was here. But yeah, maybe you can get used to that over time. And on the right side, there are buttons provided for the media controls, as well as the mode and the star button, and a star button that's been provided out here. You press these and then you can customize them, all these buttons that you see with all these options out here. Numerous options with which you can change, even the steering wheel button, the volume knob, all of that can be changed as to what it does. And on the left side, there are buttons provided for the smart cruise control, as well as the buttons to change the information on the driver's display. And as I said, there is a button down here for the drive mode, so you press it and then there are two different driving modes, normal and sport. That's about it, pretty much simple operation. Now when we come to this infotainment screen, this is a 12.3-inch infotainment system provided on this K4 GT Line Turbo Limited, and the functionality is identical to any Hyundai or Kia products that you will interact. So get these big widgets out here that you can even customize and arrange them. Inbuilt navigation system also that's been provided, and this car also has the internet pack, so it can have over the air updates also. But yes, you're going to be using Apple Maps, Google Maps once you are connected to Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Then the media options on the inside, FM, AM, Sirius XM, and then there is the other audio options, Bluetooth audio, and then sounds of nature, which is inbuilt sounds of nature that you can hear. Lots of options to choose from, USB music. And in terms of the connectivity, you can connect to this infotainment screen using Bluetooth, there is USB, and there is wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Then there is the phone option, the phone projection, which is Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, voice memo, weather, valet, vehicle diagnostics, and then the setup where there is vehicle option, driver assistance as we saw before. So the climate, seats, lights, doors, digital key convenience, all of that can be changed from here, and the same options are out here too. It comes with digital keys, so you can install the Kia Connect app on your phone and then control this car, basically switch it on, set the temperature, unlock, lock the car, and all of that. Navigation, then the sound. So on this GT Line Turbo Limited Edition, you get Harman Kardon's surround sound system. It sounds absolutely amazing, and you get the premium surround sound system on a small sedan at a very respectable price. Not too bad. Then device connection, user profile, voice, screen layout that you can change because it also comes with the split screen option that you see here, and I'm going to show you once we go into other options: display, buttons, cluster, Kia Connect, general settings, all the system units, media options, and all of that. And then we go back, then the next option is service maintenance, HD radio, notifications, online manual. Now there is also the split screen option, as I said. So you go inside, and then out here you will see whenever you are in certain options. So you have 4 different options to choose from there, and then you can drop down from the top and have quick control, display, split screen, navigation, and all of that. But that's essentially how you use this infotainment screen. There are also shortcut buttons out here provided on the bottom side for quick access: home, map, search, and then this scroller dial, nice volume dial provided, media, star button, and the setup button from where you can go directly very quickly. Now in terms of the charging, so there are 2 USB type C ports, and one of it converts into the connectivity also. So you press this button out here, it turns into orange to show you that it's now in the connection mode, and this one is purely for charging. There's also a 12-volt power socket, this nice little door provided to that push one, and there's also a wireless charger that's been provided. And for the rear passengers, there are 2 more USB ports, but they are just for charging. And there are also more buttons out here for the 360-degree camera. So you press that and you can access the 360-degree cameras out here. So many views to select from: rear, front, and then the 360. Really like this, it's so smooth. Look at that, like there is no lag at all. The system on this is absolutely rapid for at least the car systems that I've come across, so it's pretty good. Then the settings and all of that, and then we go back, and then there is the start stop button out here, which is a bit of a weird position to put it at, yeah, because you have to get used to out here. It feels a bit in the corner for sure. Now there is also an SOS button for emergency purposes, as well as a big standard sunroof. Even though it's a standard sunroof, but it opens quite big, which is what I really like. And as I said, this car is so big, this sunroof adds another addition to that. Now there are also buttons provided on the door cards for the heated and the cooled seat option. So the driver and the passenger side seats are the heated and the cooled seats. So the buttons are out here to switch it on and off, and on the passenger side the same options that's been provided. Now in terms of the storage in the door cards, you can put easily 1.5 liter worth of water, and yeah, here also there's like normal plastic provided, some more smaller storage on the back side, and there's this wireless charger that you can utilize, and then these 2 flexible cup holders. But here's the cool trick: you can even fold them away and make them into like a big storage option, or if you just want to use one cup holder, you can do that, or both, you can do that too. And this center armrest in which you can put your phones and wallets, that's about it. And then this glove box also, which is decently big too. Now in terms of the seats, so the front seats are dual tone seats, they are the leather seats, they have the GT line badging on the back side, and then these headrests which are in white color, and then they also have a bit of a, you know, design to that, so they extend in the front. But yeah, it's a lot of, you know, stylish stuff that's been going on these seats also. And these seats are now pretty much comfortable for longer journeys. They have improved definitely in this department. Kia has, these are perforated seats because they are the heated and the cooled seats. There's good amount of side support. They are broad also, and they have a longer extension. I wish it was slightly more longer, because sometimes it tends to miss, especially on the passenger side, because it's not very much adjustable. It's only adjustable 4-way, but yeah, the driver side seat is actually a lot more adjustable, so that's fine. But yes, for the passengers, if it was available to adjust the, you know, height of these seats also. So in terms of the comfort, yes, they are very comfortable. They have good side support at the bottom and even the back side too, and as I said, they have good amount of extension that way to support the under thigh too. Now in terms of the adjustability, so the driver side seat is 8-way electronically adjustable and 2-way lumbar adjustment, whereas the passenger side seat is just manually adjustable. Now let's dive into the rear, but first let me put up these seats, which is a very easy task. Given in a lot of other cars it becomes sometimes slightly complicated because the seats are very heavy, but on this it's very easy. Again, in the rear also you get the same dual tone leather seats. They are perforated seats, but they are the heated seats the other side and on this side. That's about it. 3 headrests, again they are in white too, and these seats are actually quite broad, but the thing is they are more like a bench type of setup. So if I sit on the inside, there is a bit of a support that's missing from under my thigh. That's the only thing. But in terms of the knee room, there is almost 1 palm worth of knee room out here, and in terms of the headroom, there is about 3 fingers worth of that. So yeah, it's not too bad. There's also a middle seat, but definitely very broad seats out here in the rear too, so the middle passenger can also fit in here. There's just a small bit of tunnel that goes in the back, and in terms of my legs, I can slide them slightly, that's about it, but not much room under the seats because the floor also is quite raised up, and if you see, yeah, it misses some of the support under my thigh also. Now in the middle, if you sit, the middle seat is slightly on the harder side, and the backrest is also slightly on the stiffer side because there are like 2 normal cup holders that are provided out here, and then there is this handrest also that you can utilize, but yeah, it's very like narrow that way. After that, in the back there's also this netted storage on the passenger side seat, pocket storage, and then this entire back is like in plastic, not in leather or anything. So yeah, lots of plastic has been used out here too, and there are 2 vents provided for the rear passenger, and then 2 USB Type-C ports, and also a small slot to put your phones or wallets maybe. And then in the rear door cards, this becomes normal plastic now everywhere. On the side face is soft touch material. When you're going to be resting hands, that's soft touch material. No mood lights, again normal plastic at the bottom, this white color plastic piece, and then buttons out here, and the button to switch on the heated seat provided on either side, on that side and on this side also. And in the rear door cards, again you can easily put 1.5 liter worth of bottle, but for a small sedan this is pretty much an impressive space even in the rear. So 3 passengers can easily fit into the back of this K4 GT Line Turbo Limited. So this 2025 K4 GT Line Turbo Limited is powered by a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, and it's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission that sends the power to the front wheels. So it's the front wheel drive car, whereas the LX, EX, EX Plus are powered by 2 liter non-turbocharged engine, and this engine produces 190 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque, and I think it's ample for everyday use. It's just that the turbos, that turbocharger takes slightly longer to just start delivering the rich torque, about somewhere 2500 rpm. So you press the throttle and then then it starts delivering about 2600 rpm, but nonetheless the power delivery is smooth, and the 8-speed automatic gearbox, even that is pretty crisp in terms of how it shifts. Just that sometimes when you lift the leg from the throttle, then if you try to again power the car up, then there's a lot of clunkiness to that. Maybe that can be sorted out. There's a constant tuck 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 sound that keeps coming along when you are trying to accelerate and decelerate, and if you remove the right leg from the throttle. And I definitely feel like there needs to be a little bit of throttle mapping also, because sometimes it may feel a little erratic in terms of how the pedal responds, the throttle pedal response. But if otherwise overall it's a pretty smooth power delivery. There's also the sport mode. So the sport mode is here on the steering. Once I press that, it becomes very active, and the gear shifts are happening at higher RPM, so it holds up the gears also so that you are at a higher RPM. That's why it gives you more rich torque, and then you can even use the paddle shifters, because there's also a manual mode to shift into, but the paddle shifters, they take probably half a second to a little longer to change gears. But yeah, just leave it into sport. Now, in terms of the efficiency, so from this 1.6 liter turbocharged engine on longer runs, I've managed to get 5 liters per 100 kilometers, whereas within the city I've been averaging around 8.9 to 9.1 liters per 100 kilometers, which is pretty close to their official figures, which is 9.2 liters per 100 kilometers. So yeah, even though this is a non-hybrid, but the figures are pretty much spot on for daily use, and it's got 47 liters of fuel tank capacity on this, so you can get like from a full tank about 500 to 550 kilometers of range, which is pretty impressive for long runs. Now, when we come to the suspension, so the suspensions are on the softer side, and that is pretty evident because the car might feel a bit jumpy sometimes, especially if there are waves of the roads are wavy, then you might feel that jump being a bit endless, because it takes a little while to damp those jumps eventually, but it does that. And yes, as a result of that softness, it does feel a bit flighty sometimes, but again, it's not a huge complaint as such. But the thing that affects the most is the fact that the steering gets compromised because of that. But the suspension setup in general for long runs is very comfortable, especially with these seats. Now, when you come to the steering is electronic steering, and it feels a bit numb sometimes, and lacking the feedback. And as I said, because the suspensions are slightly on the softer side, so even the handling gets affected, because then sometimes you don't get that sort of feedback and the precision that you want from the steering, and then you constantly have to correct it at all times, and you have to especially hold with both of your hands the steering wheels if you are going through some deep potholes, because it upsets the car balance slightly. But yes, if you put it in the sport mode, slightly firms up the steering setup. So yeah, I like probably in the sport setup the steering than the normal mode. But yeah, it's up to you. If you're driving within the city, then you want a softer one, then yeah, you can use the normal mode. And yeah, within the city, it's going to be performing already. And even the turning radius, that's also pretty small for this small sedan. That is pretty big that way. Now, when you come to the brakes, so there are 4 disc brakes provided on this, and on the GT line variant, the turbo, there are bigger brake calipers provided, and the braking action is pretty spot on. The pedal is quite progressive. Now, when we come to the noise and the vibration, so the windows are double glazed, and that's why it's a pretty quiet space on the inside, and overall even very minimum tire noise, and that's pretty impressive for this one. And Kia mentions that they have improved on that front, and it's very much visible, because the car that way feels very quiet. Even when you accelerate, there is not much engine noise. In fact, the engine sometimes sounds pretty sweet for a small sedan. And in terms of the NVH overall levels, it's pretty good. It's actually very impressive. Now, when you come to the safety systems, so there are 8 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger. There are 2 side airbags for the rear passengers also. There are 2 curtain airbags in the pillars. Then there is child isofix points in both the rear seats, and a brilliant 360-degree camera system. Love the output from that. I think we should just give Kia Hyundai the power to just supply the camera systems to every manufacturer, because they've just nailed it. Look at the quality of that. So many angles to choose from, and 360-degree camera, the 360 angle also that you can choose. Yeah, so much options are available, and it's crisp. It never lags. That's the best thing. And in terms of the other safety systems, there's ABS, there's tire pressure monitoring system, there is also the EBD, the traction control system, then the rear seat reminder, so that you don't forget anything or any people, your child, in the car. And there is also the front and the rear collision warning, the pedestrian warning, then the smart cruise control, which is the adaptive cruise control. so you can take your hands off also, because there's also lane keep assist, lane departure warning. So all the safety systems are also provided. Now when we come to the pricing, so the base variant LX starts from 23,995 Canadian dollars, whereas this top trim comes in at 36,695 Canadian dollars approximately, and the GT Turbo, not the limited but the GT Turbo, comes in at somewhere around 33,300 Canadian dollars or 31,300 Canadian dollars. You will see the exact price on your screen. But in terms of the pricing, it's one of the best ones, because let's be honest, you spend more and you get more car out of this package. It definitely gives you a lot more car for sure for a very little price. And especially if you go for the LX one, yes, you get the 2-liter engine with the CVT, but it's still got a lot of similar features, the looks and everything. So for 23,000 approximately, it's not a bad car. Maybe 24,000 with a lot of taxes and all added, 26,000, but still it's so much of a car that you get, and it's also so much more stylish. Yes, it's a bit bulbous, the rear look, yeah, it's a hit and a miss. It took me a little while to get used to that rear end, but it's practical, it functions because there's so much of space, there's practicality, and this GT line is also pretty fast that way for day-to-day use, and it's also pretty peppy for everyday use. So it will zip and zoom around the city and on the highways without embarrassing you. So yeah, it's not gonna cut back on anything, and also it's feature rich, and especially so many screens and touch screens that you get out here. If you're a fan of that, then yes, you will get all of that plus all the safety systems on top of that. So yeah, overall it's a brilliant package that you can opt for, because it's genuinely a very spacious and a practical car. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to this channel by clicking that subscription button. Leave all the notifications on so that you are reminded whenever a new review comes out, and make sure to press that thumbs up button if you've liked this video. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care and drive safe.